After running through the glass of my second-story window, in my sleep no less, I can't put it off any longer. It's been 26 years, but I have to remember what keeps me up nights. Any chance you know someone by the name of Jesse Nicola?
Don't matter your saint, a lover or a liar.
Son, why go looking for something you don't want to find?
Your city burning up in the fire.
Supposedly it's some sort of dark being that roams the woods. And if you're depressed, angry, frustrated, or whatever, you don't know about old it can slip inside you and swallow your soul.
Thought I told you. It's none your damn business.
All the rivers run to the sea, but the sea is not free. It's always been that way, son. You could have gotten yourself killed. Or worse, Peters, Pops. You ever hear a natural? How can something like that be completely forgotten? Erased, like it never even existed? You're listening to The Preacher, The Fisherman, and The Cahaba, a dramatic, audio-based interpretation of the novel by the same title, anticipated for release in October of 2020. This tale, recounted from my hospital bed, is told in order, so if you're joining us in the middle, it may be best to start at the beginning. We'll be here when you get back. But to be fair, you may want to hurry, because like the innocence of youth, it won't likely last forever. Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I don't know what I was running from. I can only imagine how this must sound to you. To hear that I've run through the glass of my second-story window in my sleep. You probably don't believe it, but it's true all the same. And the doctor says that had I been awake and braced myself for the impact, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. Sure, I've got some broken bones, a lot of bruises, a leg full of glass. The intern couldn't get it all out. But I'm alive. Listen, I can't understand it any better than you. I don't remember anything until I woke up on my driveway in my boxer shorts. Even as I lay here now, 600 miles away, engulfed in the incessantly expanding fringe of a sprawling metropolis, those memories haunt me. Not like a ghost in the attic or a monster under my bed, but they haunt me. And through my cloudy senses on this morphine drip, the bustling voices in the hospital hallway blend into the gentle chatter of the creek behind my childhood home in Shiloh's Beat, Alabama. And the patter of rain against my ICU window whispers to me, melting back in time to that rainy night in October, the fall of my sophomore year. That was 26 years ago. I'd all but forgotten. All that's really left is a sort of a memory of a memory. You know what I mean? I can remember what happened, mostly, but I don't feel it anymore. What I mean is, it just seems like a story or something. Like some movie that I watched while I fell asleep late one night. Sure, you'd think that something like that would be hard to forget. But damn, it all fades so fast. You see, I need to remember. I need to write it down. I need to record it, just in case. And maybe, just maybe, in the telling, in the asking, the reliving of the pain of that fall, I remember what keeps me up nights. Okay, where to start? Chapter 1, The Ragged Fringe. My forehead leaned against the damp window pane, beaded with condensation from the cool, early October night pressing up against it like a heavy conscience. My groggy senses staggered, struggling to find firm footing somewhere between the need to sleep and the urge to wake. I looked back at my empty bed, the sheets ripped away from the corners, strewn haphazardly across the mattress, and wondered briefly as to when I had awoken, or if I really had. It is a strange and sometimes frightening world that hovers on that ragged fringe. I guess that for most people, the peculiar mixing of the conscious and the unconscious is so brief as to pass by mostly unnoticed. But for me, the wild coalescence lingered on for far longer. I'd had these episodes for as long as I can remember, but they'd grown more frequent in the nights since our careless prank went awry. The dense, red clay of Shiloh's Beat, Alabama, has a long, long memory, and in those uneasy nights, I often felt it was upon me. Outside the window, refracted through the foggy remnants of my breath on the chilly glass, a faint, undulating glow flickered softly in the distance. I slowly lifted the heavy wooden frame, peering out into the darkness towards the creek, where no one should have been. Yet the flickering persisted. Slipping through the window and into the backyard, I was drawn to the light by an uncontrollable curiosity. I crept through the pasture gate, passing by the foundation of the old ruined barn, its earthen breast laid bare to the moon, and on towards the steep chert bank beyond it. I pulled myself up by the trunk of a limber, young pine sapling whose scaly bark welcomed the familiar shake of my calloused hands. Cautiously, I crested the ridge, my head bobbing above the undergrowth to look out over a small clearing with the burbling creek at its head. Moving into the open ground with an ease born of countless repetitions, I approached the creek, where the earliest headwaters of the Cahaba River flowed noisily past. I knew her well, every undulating curve, every babbling shallow shoal, and every deep, hidden pool from here to Warren. The narrow clearing was bordered on both sides by towering pines that moaned as they swayed to the rustling chorus of the gentle breeze through the pin oaks scattered among them. The canopy overhead arched into a living, moving cathedral vault, filtering the moon like stained glass into dappled designs that danced across the forest floor. And at the head of the clearing, near the meandering creek, the pines slowly gave way to a dense thicket of hazel alders leaning out over the water, clinging desperately to the ever-eroding bank as their low-laying foliage huddled around the orange glow of a small campfire. I knelt in the shadows to study the flickering flame, which was livened by the wind and danced erratically as it spit tiny, glowing embers into the smoky air above. And looking through the sparking plumes, I could see the light flash upon the ruddy skin of a man on its far side, resting in its warmth. His axe was wedged into the jagged stump of a defiled alder tree, its blood-red sap beating up from the wound. He pushed wet strands of wispy brown hair back from his beaded brow with the knuckles of a tight fist, revealing stern eyes. Resting his elbows upon his knees, he tilted a large book towards the undulating light. As he fluttered into and out of sight in cadence with the random flicker of the wind-tossed flame, I could see the tooled leather cover pressed against his soiled hands, and at its center, the nimbus-ringed Celtic cross of the Presbyterian. I looked on for a long moment, undetected, as the nighttime chorus filled every corner of the valley with a familiar serenade, trying earnestly to comfort the restless hills. I'm sure they've seen too much in their time to ever sleep soundly again. Then, scanning the edges of the woods, something caught my attention. Startled, I peered up towards the crest of the hill where a hazy figure stood in the deep shadows, watching from behind the trunk of a giant pine. The sparse moonlight seemed to refract around it, revealing only the blurred edges of an upright form. I glanced back towards the fire, where the man now looked directly at me. Then, following my previous gaze up to the crest, he spotted the figure as well. At first none of us advanced nor retreated. We stood perfectly still, curiously assessing each other from a safe distance until, finally, the man slowly stood. He closed his book, worked the axe loose from the sappy wood, then backed away cautiously to disappear beyond the fire's feathered edge. The hazy figure above him knelt in the shadows, melting into the darkness that spread throughout the underbrush, surrounding me in the concealing woods that hide the Cahaba from the world. My pulse began to quicken as I searched for any sign of them, but all was lost to darkness, and any sound was now masked by the nighttime cacophony of the wilderness. Trying to wake myself fully, I crouched in the underbrush, squeezing my eyes shut as I covered my mouth with one hand and hit my forehead with the palm of the other. That's when I felt a hand clamp down on my shoulder. Spinning frantically onto my back, almost overcome by adrenaline, I raised my fist in front of my face. "You all right, Billy?" the voice asked. Focusing through my blurred vision, I found Uncle John standing above me in a blue flannel jacket, his old lever-action 30-30 rifle at his side. "You're sleepwalking again," he said, grabbing me firmly by the upper arm and pulling me to my feet. "You're going to get yourself killed. You know that?" I looked down to find myself barefoot, in plaid boxer shorts and a white t-shirt in the middle of a blackberry bramble. I brushed the dirt from my exposed knees and quickly looked back towards the creek. Nothing. I rubbed my tired eyes with my palms as I took a deep sigh. "Go on home," Uncle John said, pushing me in the direction of my house. "It's still a few hours before dawn." Nudging me again, hard enough this time to send me lurching forward, he said, "But don't forget, it's Saturday. I'll finish checking these traps and pick you up at first light, by the gate." He motioned again with his hand. "Now go on." Embarrassed and confused, I nodded. "Yes, sir." Then wrapping my arms over one another, I rubbed away the chill bumps and turned back towards home.